So we will be sharing with you a presentation. We have scheduled this session for about 2 hours. So we've got a presentation prepared for yourselves, and and we've got a panel, and the members of the panelist, they will show their face. If maybe my panelists can do so that when I introduce you, we can see who you are. So in the panel, we've got Mr. Velaphi Ntuli, who is the General Manager, Operations and Enablement in the Distribution Division. We've got Mrs. Portia Bapu, who's the Senior Manager, Customer Services. Can we see your face, Portia? Thank you. And we've got Mrs. Dade Mbele, who's our Senior Manager, Center of Excellence in Retail. Dade, and I'm sure you are quite used to the two faces of Mr. Velaphi and Mrs. Dade. So those will be our panelists and our presenters for today. Just thank you, colleagues, just for ensuring that we have a smooth session today. So we do have some ground rules in terms of having to keep our mics off, but we will be also monitoring that. I've got a team that will be monitoring that, and we will have the presentation, and after the presentation we'll have a 1 hour Q&A session, and the Q&A session you will have to post your questions via the chat platform, and we will, obviously you are not limited to any or a number of questions, but we would also like to plead with you that we stick to the your questions are related to the topic of today, which is the key revision number rollover project. So we won't be taking any interviews after the session. So please do make sure that you ask as many questions as you would want to. What is it? So the session, it is not a hybrid session, so all the audience and the panelists are virtually or have virtually connected. So this is a virtual 100% session. So with that said, I would also like to apologize for our group executive in distribution, being Mr. Monde Bala. Unfortunately, something came up this morning and he had to leave, you know, and go and ensure that he goes and attend some urgent matter. However, I have confidence that the team or the panelists that we have today will be able to respond to all your questions as they are even closer to the issue. So having said that, colleagues, let me then call upon Mr. Velaphi Ntuli to present or give us the presentation, or the first part of the presentation. Thank you, Mr. Velaphi.
Thank you, Daphne, and good morning to the members of the media and everyone that is watching the stream today. Maybe just to start up is as Eskom, we are now in the process of rolling out the key revision change. We do have over 6.8 million meters that requires to be recoded so that they can function properly. This is not a Eskom only problem, but all the prepaid meters which are compliant to STS, what we call the standard transfer specification, need this update or this rollover by the 24th of November 2024. So we, in essence, have just above a year to complete this. There has been concerns in the public that we are late and we are not ready. But what I would like to assure the media and the members of the public is that we at Eskom have started working on this quite a while back, over a few years, where we've been updating and upgrading our back-end system to be able to handle this. So there's a lot of preparation that has been going on in the background to make sure that when we get to this point and we roll over, we are ready to do that. During this preparation, we also looked at what was happening worldwide and what was also happening locally to decide on the method that would use to roll over and the effectiveness of that, and also to note what the challenges were, that we needed to deal with. So as a result, in August this year, we started with what we called a soft rollout. That was after we had finished updating our back-end system or upgrading our back-end system. And we did a limited rollout to find out what the issues were and what the problems were, so that we can iron them out and deal with them before the mass rollout. And really based on the success of this soft rollout that we've done, which has over 600,000 meters that we have, successfully rolled over to the new key revision number. We are very confident at Eskom that the implementation of this project is going to be both successful and it will also be on time. So our approach in this is like many other utilities. We have chosen the DIY approach where the customer will do this themselves. They will receive the tokens that they need to put on their meter to do this. So you will not be having Eskom employees or our contractors coming to your houses to do this. It will be strictly DIY. We believe that from a process point of view, it is both quick and it is of little convenience to our customers in doing this approach. One of the key things that we noticed as we were looking as to how we rolled this out, it was the support that is required. So, and Mr. Dembele will speak to that. We have assembled appropriate support to ensure that in cases where there are problems, there will be support. We will communicate via this medium, via radio, and through prints in various communities and through radio notices with our customers around the initiative and what they need to do and when it is their turn to be rolled over. And as I've indicated, we also have support centers that we have established during the initial phase or the soft rollover phase to make sure that if a customer does have a problem, then they can get help and we are responsive to them, to help them out. So in essence, this is how as Eskom will be going through that on a high level. We do have the 6.8 million meters that we now need to roll over before the due date. We are very comfortable with the plans that we have to effect this project. I will then hand over to Mr. Papo Ms. Papo just to take you through where we are and what the phases are of the project. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Good morning, the people that are on the teams and to the media and the colleagues, Eskom colleagues that are on the call. We have up the rollout strategy as we are showing out. We had a phase one, where on our phase one, we started in August to September. The role of phase one is for us to clear the glitches that we're having regarding the KRN and for us to identify the constraints that we might have and provide the solution to those constraints. We set ourselves a target of 30,000 meters per province, and we managed to do what we set in front of us. And we had a dashboard that we're using to monitor. And now we're on phase 2, which is we're going to start up in October. We've just started on phase 2 in October. The aim for us to make sure that during phase 2, we cover as much as possible so that we can be ready for the November 2024. And our strategy for this phase 2 is for us to target the bigger township codes where we've got lots of customers sitting in one SGC code. And we just also want to emphasize to our customers that when we're about to change the area, we are going to notify the customers through the local media and through the radios that you are ready for them to be able to do the recording of the meters. The last phase, we have built up a factor for the last phase to make sure that on this last phase, we address the exception based on our database for those customers that are not recorded, because we need to make sure that all the customers that we're having are recorded, which is going to be the final stage of stage 1, is phase 1 and phase 2, where we make sure that we do the scrapping of all the normalities of those meters that are not coded to make sure that all the Eskom customers are coded. Our dashboard, as I've just indicated, this is just the sample of the dashboard that is going to be also in our website. This is where we are as from the 18th of October. We have managed to issue about 672 within these 2 months that we have started. And you could see that per province, how we're doing. Most of the other provinces, as I've said, that the target was 30,000, but we have surpassed our target of what is it that we've wanted to change. And for now, we're left out with 6.2, and then in those 6.2, that's what we want to do by before the 24th of November. We have the footprint of the vending channels that we're having. As Eskom, we've got about 95,690 channels. Part of our channels are the national retail stores. We've got the banks that are also in sync for us to be able to help us to issue the communication strategy to issue the tokens. And we also have the service stations that are able to help us with those what we want. Also, we have not forgot those spaza shops and those small shops and everyone that is selling the electricity. All of them are configured to help us to be able to change the customers from KRN 1 to KRN 2. That Dembele is going to help us through how are we going to do in terms of the communication.
Thank you, Ms. P. So Eskom has a couple of communication channels that we use for our customers. We have the Alfred chatbot, which our customers can use, and they can find on alfred.eskom.co.za. And once they reach Alfred, they are then able to type in whatever their question is. But for KRN specifically, there's a field that you can type and go to the frequently asked questions on the KRN. More than that, on Alfred, any customer can also log a fault, can put in their meter readings and do whatever that they need to do, follow up on an existing fault, etc. We also have the traditional Eskom contact center number, and on the number, it is enabled with the IVR, which is the interactive voice response, the number being 0860 037 566. So there we have sourced or appointed a number of individuals that are going to also support on the KRN, specifically on the KRN project. Throughout the country, we've got more than 100 individuals that are going to, in the contact centers, be queued on KRN related issues. We have pamphlets that we have distributed in the different areas where we have rolled out and are continuing to roll out the KRN. On the social media, and if you go on www.eskom.co.za, if you look towards the top right-hand side, you'll be able to click on the Alfred, on all our self-service channels. But more than that, there is also a link specifically that will take you to the KRN project. So that information also is there. On it, you also have infographics on social media, infographics on the on eskom.co.za as well. And you've also got Eskom personnel. So what we have done is that in the areas that we are rolling out or have been rolling out, Eskom personnel have physically gone out into those areas. And that is the support that we are continuing to roll out as we go in. Frequently asked questions are available on the website on www.eskom.co.za if you go to the KRN link, as well as on social media and on Alfred. And if you can just go to the next part, as you can see on this one, you have the infographics, etc. So what you can see is that what we've also done is we've done different radio interviews, and we've scheduled different radio interviews, specifically the local radio stations will also go to the national radio stations to attend to some of the issues or some of the questions that our customers might have. So there have been a couple that have been rolled out in the different areas, and the information related to KRN is shared there. As said previously, in the contact center, we've got personnel that handle KRN issues. What will happen by the end of this month is we are going to have a specific queue. So when you phone that number, you are directed to the interactive voice response, but you are also able to, and you are also then by the end of the month able to choose KRN if you have a KRN related question or query. And this is going to be available by the end of the month. However, you are still able to speak to an agent if you have an issue that you need addressed by a specific agent, a physical agent, if you cannot be assisted via the interactive voice response. On the frequently asked questions, as also to log a fault, you can use any of our channels to log a fault. So we are able then to assist our customers on the different connects, on the infographics, with the information on the pamphlets. We have also sent SMSs and continue to send SMSs when we roll out in the different areas to our customers. And we urge our customers to please update their contact information with us at Eskom. So if you can contact Eskom, if you know that you need to update your information so that when we send SMSs and schedule to go out in the communities, that your contact details are up to date. We have also then posted step-by-steps questions and solutions for our customers as well. And we then are able to assist our customers any way possible. And these channels are open for our customers to use at any point. I think at this stage, I will hand over back to the GM.
Thank you, Ms. Mbele. So to the public and to the members of the media, our next steps really is we will continue to communicate the progress. We will continue to communicate the areas that are due for the rollover via the media and all the platforms that we have available to us. We will also use our social media platforms, as Ms. Mbele has mentioned, and the chatbots to give periodic updates. We also encourage you to have a look at our website to see where the update is and how the progress is going. We do urge our customers. We know that with every change and every major project, there might be glitches and there might be some level of anxiety. But if you follow the steps as they are, the process is not that difficult. So we do urge all our customers to embrace this. It is something that we need to do so that you do not have disruptions with your electricity supply. And we urge all the customers to do it as quickly and as immediately as possible once you've received your token. Don't wait as close as possible to the deadline. We want to have this done way ahead of time so that we can deal with any other glitches should we have them. Right? So we believe that working together with our customers, with the members of the public and members of the media, we will be able to roll over all our 6.8 million meters on time before the 24th of November deadline. Thank you, and back to you, Ms. Mokoena.
Thank you, Velapi. So we are at that item on our agenda where we will like to take questions. I haven't seen or received any questions on the chat bot. Please post them if you do have. There we are. And maybe just as another ground rule that I didn't mention, that please just mention the media house that you are coming from so that we are able as well to just voice it out. So we've got I think it's a question from William Brederode, saying that thank you for hosting the briefing earlier this year. I was told that there was only 6.6 million meters that Eskom is responsible for. Before that, it was 6.5 million. Why has this number grown to 6.8 million? So I'll take about 5 questions before I hand over to my panelists to respond. And we've got Deneen Erasmus from Business Day. Can you explain why this is being done? How will it change the operation of the prepaid meters? What happens if a customer fails to make the switch by the deadline? What glitches were picked up with the system? And the next question, it's William Brederode just confirmed that he's from News 24. And the next question is from Terence Creamer and Engineering News. And the question is, what is the situation with meters in the municipal distribution area? And the last one that I will take for now is Francois Williams from Network 24. What are the specific areas coming up next for the project? Mr. Velapi and Ms. Poshia and Ms. Dade, over to you.
No, thank you, and thanks for the questions. What I will ask is, I will ask Ms. Papo to deal with the question around the numbers to explain that, and the question on explaining why it's being done. I will deal with that. Then I will ask Ms. Mbele or Brian to deal with the issue around the municipality areas, distribution areas. Right? So maybe just to start off around why is this being done? The reason that we are doing this is all the STS compliant meters, when they were brought onto the market, they had a finite timeline. So it means every time that a token is bought, there is a certain timestamp that goes into that, and that token then can be accepted by the meter based on a sequence, on a number sequence and the timestamp that it has. So that number range runs out on the 24th of November 2024. So as a result, we need to change and recode the meter so that we can extend that range. So if you do not do that, your meter will no longer be functional after the 24th of November 2024. This is not a Y2K scare or issue that we had previously when, it was believed that computers will not work. This is based on science, and it is clear that it will happen. So how will it change the operations of the smart meter, of the prepaid meter? The operation will not change. So you just get your tokens, you recode your meter, and you load your voucher, and you continue to use the meter the way that you were using it. So there is any change or anything once you've done that. All right. If I can ask Ms. Papoten to deal with the question of the numbers.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Velapi. Regarding the numbers, we've got some electrification program that were did as ESCOM. That's what made the numbers to go up. Also, there are municipalities that are undertaking the electrification program. And then at the end of the day, because the area of supply is an ESCOM area of supply, so those meters, they have just handed over those customers to ESCOM. Hence, you see that the number for ESCOM is 6.8 is because of the electrification. There is an increase in electrification on the municipality program, electrification program that they handed over to ESCOM, and then some minor works, those customers that they do apply for us to connect them. So that's what made the number to increase. Thank you.
Thank you, Portia. So the question on the municipality, is it responded to? Yes, thank you, Dade.
Brian will handle that, Program Director. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. The municipalities, similarly to ESCOM, are also using electricity prepaid meters that comply to the STS specification. So most of the municipalities have already started, and to that extent, they are continuing to do the rollover. Municipalities in most cases have much less numbers compared to ESCOM. As indicated, ESCOM is having 6.8. But then the answer to that is same as ESCOM is rolling over. Municipalities have started, some have not, but then it is applicable not only locally to the industry, but in some other utilities in the world that are also complying to the STS specifications are having the same deadline of November 2024, and they will also be rolling over. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. So we've got another question from William Brederoth again. From Network News 24. Can ESCOM commit to a date before 24th November 2024 for completing the rollover? And when is the project scheduled to be finished? And then we've got Kanyisile Ngobo. Has there been any resistance from communities during the rollout? And in other words, have there been households that refuse to allow, just a second, to allow ESCOM? Let me start again. Have there been households that refuse to allow the switch, and how has ESCOM handled that? Can you provide a number for those households? And that's Kanyisile from Times Live. And then the next question from William Brederoth from News 24. How much funding has been made available by ESCOM for completing this project? Over to you, Mr. Ntuli.
Thank you, ma'am. Maybe I see there was also a question that we missed there, which had to do with specific areas that are coming up for rollover. So yes, although we're doing this, so as we implement this project, it's in the entire South Africa, but we do selected areas at a time. So what I would advise there is on our website, we'll be updating what areas are next. So we don't have it with us as to what the next areas are, but we'll update that on the website. So you can frequently visit the website just to see what areas will be, are being rolled over at that particular stage. All right, so that is one. Around the committed date before 2024, ideally would like to finish this 3 months before 2024, November 2024. And the reason for that is to deal with any lingering issues. So our drive is to finish at least 3 months prior to November 2024. This will give us time then for the last 3 months just to deal with any issues that we need to address and make sure that everyone, by the time that we get to the 24th of November 2024, there is no issues of rolling over. With regards to households, there is no issues of access that we have currently faced because it's do it yourself. So as you go, you buy your electricity, you get your tokens, and you need to implement that. However, there might be challenges if there are communities that are currently not, if there are communities that are currently have illegally connected, but that is a different issue that we need to deal with. But communities that do buy their electricity, as they go and buy the electricity, they get issued with the tokens, which they need to change over. So we have not seen any reports of any resistance. And our provinces and our teams in the provinces, they continue to engage with various communities, and they are continuing to inform them on this. All right.
And
on the funding, I would like Ms. Papo to deal with the funding. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Velapi. Regarding the funding, we have only spent the funding for the communication. So as Velapi have just indicated, this is a do-it-yourself, so there is no funding at all that makes us to roll out this program. The only funding that we'll be using is for us to do the communication at large. It's not yet above 1 million that we have spent, so we are just on a start. We are making use of the free airtime that we get from the radios. Where we've just paid there are some few paid up slots that we've done, and then the part of the funding that was spent was for us to do the print media. Other than that, we have not yet spent any funding for it, as it is a do-it-yourself. Thank you.
Thank you, Portia. We've got another question from Tanini Rasmus. Business Day. How many meters are there in municipal distribution areas? And how many, I think it's many, we short of an M there, how many have already been switched over? And then the next question from William Brederod. What will Eskom do for those households who do not successfully roll over their meters themselves? Will task teams be sent out to the household who fail to roll over their meters themselves? During the pilot phase, what proportion of households fail to roll over their meters themselves? I think that was the last question for now. Thank you. Over to you, Ms. Tantuli.
Thank you for that. On the question around the households, and I'll ask maybe Ms. Mbele to also come in on that. How we are approaching this is we do have support channels that we have, and if you are struggling or you are having challenges in rolling over, you are welcome to then log in a fault. And if we cannot help you, telephonically, then and it requires that we dispatch a technician, then we will then do that to help in that rollover. In the pilot phase, the proportion of the people that have rolled over, that I will ask Brian to deal with that. And I think also, I think those were the two questions that
Thank you.
So Brian?
Thank you. Firstly, to deal with the question on municipalities. The SARGA, which is the association that for the entire municipalities in South Africa, they have a similar dashboard like this of Eskom. So in there, they indicate the number of municipalities that have started, the numbers that meters that have rolled over. Unfortunately, we do not have that dashboard in front of us. But then when you go to the website of SARGA and you indicate token identifier rollover or TIT rollover, it will then take you to the site where you'll see the number of municipalities, the number of meters to be rolled over, and the numbers that have already been rolled over, and the ones that still needs to either start or they will then indicate as to the progress. On the issue of what was the other question?
The other question, yeah, was on how many have failed as we are rolling over the project. Do we have a view of that?
No, what happens
and
is
what proportion of household is that?
We've previously indicated that as and when there's an issue of tokens not being accepted, customers will contact Eskom and we will immediately dispatch our resources on the ground to assist. Sometimes it's elderly people that need assistance. So we do not keep the record. We instantly ensure that when we receive those type of queries, we send people to assist either in reissuing the key change token, because if you've lost them, you can get a new set. If somehow there's a technical glitch in terms of the token not working or it was not done correctly, we can still reissue. And in some instances, we do assist to try and get them to be loaded in a proper sequence. So in that instance, we are minimizing at all times those that are not being accepted or those that are not working. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian. So we've got another question. I think it was a continuation from Deneen, or from William, sorry. How can the Eskom dispatch technician to help with the rollover? I think you've touched on that, Brian. For someone who has not successfully or who has not succeeded in rolling over the meter themselves, if funding has only been allocated to communication. Why was Alfred chatbot recruited for communication purposes? Is this not unnecessarily complicated? Does Alfred handle typed questions effectively?
Thank you. Yeah, I will ask Mrs. Mbele to handle those questions, but on the funding, just to get back to it, I think there's few cost elements that we probably didn't touch on. So the biggest cost on this, it was the upgrade of the backend system, because you can't do this without upgrading the backend system. So that was the biggest cost that we have. We do have the numbers here. It was an open tender to a supplier, and and we went with the cheapest supplier, but that was a huge cost that we have. And also the other maybe cost that we didn't speak about is the support. As Ms. Mbele had mentioned, we got extra people on board to help us with this. So that is a funding. So without mentioning the cost of the back-end system upgrade, the other cost elements was basically for the communication that we need to do and the marketing that we need to do, which Ms. Papo spoke to, and also the additional staff that we needed to recruit. So I'll ask Ms. Mbele then to deal with the issue of Alfred and dispatching of technicians to help us or to help those customers that are not able to roll over themselves.
Thank you, through you, Program Director. So Alfred has been with us for quite a while now, and we have just added on the functionality for KRN because a number of our customers to log faults, to read their meter, to follow up on an existing fault, to update their details already use Alfred. And it made sense for us to add the functionality to have Alfred also attend to frequently asked questions in terms of the supply. So Alfred can still, because a number of our customers, more than 70% of our customers have moved from telephony to Alfred. So because we wanted to go where our customers are, especially prepaid customers, we thought this is the perfect area to have KRN information also there. So it's not just KRN that you are able to be attended to on, but it is a number of other supply-related issues as well, and relationship-related issues. So if there is an issue with anything that has to do with your supply, including KRN, customers are still able to log a fault using Alfred and others of our communication channels. And yes, we are able to dispatch a technician to go out, but they will go out once you have a reference number and a work order number has been allocated to that specific issue. Thank you, Program Director.
Yeah, I think that William comes from, remember there was an article about Alfred not being able to actually understand or comprehend what the token identifier is.
I remember.
And maybe can you just mention what are we doing in terms of that, in terms of just updating as well,
yes,
so that most of the answers can be also responded to via Alfred.
Yes, I remember that 2 weeks ago, the News 24 article. So Alfred was designed for, in terms of KRN, to attend to frequently asked questions. But we took the feedback also from what News 24 was saying, and on a daily basis, we are improving. So even in our channels, we will be including a month from now, maybe a year even from now, you'll be seeing different things as well, because we want to also equip our chatbots with artificial intelligence so that we are able to pick up on other issues. Like TID was not one of those that Alfred had been trained with. So we are always improving, and we will be using artificial intelligence and other technologies to ensure that we improve even in the future. But as far as a fault is concerned, you're still able to log a fault on KRN. You are also able to equip yourself with information on what we are doing as far as KRN is concerned.
Thank you, Tati. Okay. The next question is from Kanyisile Ngobo from Times Live. Can I please get an indication on something Mr. Ntuli touched on? Those houses with illegal connections. Yes. What will happen if they try to do the switch? Will the token work and etc.? And will concessions be made for them so they can make the switch? I ask because surely people with such connections will hesitate to make the switch, knowing they'll come under scrutiny and possibly trouble. And then another question from William Brederod, from News 24, how much money was spent upgrading the back-end system for the rollover? What was the figure? Back to you, Mr. Ntuli.
Thank you for those two questions. To Kanyisile, for those communities that currently have illegal connections, they normally do not buy electricity. But if their meters are functional and they still are able to get electricity in a proper manner, then they should be able to do a switchover. Right? We are working through our community co-ops. We are working with communities, trying to ensure that we eradicate the issue of illegal connections. And we understand the scrutiny that they come under, but we actually want to encourage our communities, those are illegally connected, to work with us to remove those illegal connections, to let us normalize them so that they can get their electricity firstly in a very safe manner, because if you look at some of those illegal connections, they are not safe. They are a harm to children and harm to our communities. So we do work with them to try and have that. But in essence, if the meter is functional and they've elected now to do it the right way, they should be able to vend, and we'll be able to assist them to change over appropriately so that they can, be legal on the system. William, on your question, we do have the numbers. They are not yet finalized because of the work that we have done, but we can commit to share with you the entire number of the project. I don't want to give you a certain number, then in 2 weeks' time it changes to another number. I think you also asked the question up front to say, was it you? Yes, that the number kept on changing. So please allow us time that we can then share with you a holistic number once we are ready to do that, and we will commit to do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ntuli. Maybe just to as obviously something that will be of interest to media as well. Having seen Kanyisile's question, Mr. Ntuli, would be on the ghost vendors. Does this KRN rollover have a positive or negative impact on the ghost vending? What have we seen lately? Before I take the other questions, I see we still have time. Maybe just for media, just to understand that if there are benefits as well. Thank you.
Yes. No, thanks. Ms. Papo, can you deal with that? But this going forward, maybe just as she comes on, just going forward, part of KRN rollover, it will also ensure, revenue protection, because once you go into this new system, it will, eradicate that. But Ms. Papo can also then talk to what our experiences are and what we are seeing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Velapi. Yes, it does have a very positive impact on our revenue as Eskom. We started with a pilot in some area in Johannesburg where we started to move them to KRN2. And what we have noticed on that one, there were sales that went up, and we tested that one. The community were unhappy that they could not use their ghost vending tokens. So we've noticed on those sales. Recently, we have just converted some of the areas, and when we're looking at our sales in terms of the areas that we've converted, we saw that the sales have increased. So it does have a positive impact. And then the ghost vending customers won't be able to buy on the ghost vending immediately when we change it to KRN2. Thank you.
Thank you. And just for those that don't understand what the ghost vending is, it's those meters or tokens that you buy one and get two or whatever number for free. Illegal, obviously, vending. There's another question from William that says, it is William, yes. Eskom announced that it had completed a pilot project of 5,800 meters in Gauteng. Over a year elapsed before the soft rollover started. Why did this amount of time elapse? Will Eskom consider taking over the rollover of meters for municipalities who are not on track to complete their rollover? Let me just see if there's another question. All right, that was the last question. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Ntuli.
Thank you. I will ask Ms. Papa to deal with the timelines, but on the taking over of the municipality, as Eskom, we do not intend taking over this project from the municipalities. We do believe that our municipality colleagues are competent and they will be capable to do this. And we do have forums where we do exchange information. And if we need to help each other both ways, we'll help each other, for all of us to be successful. But there is no intention of Eskom taking over this program from the municipality and running it. Yeah, so Portia, if you can then deal with the timelines.
Thank you so much. The area that we started to pilot was the area in Gauteng. Yes, we did about 5,800. That area was the riverside. And I don't understand what you mean about the timelines, because that area we're still monitoring, and then that area is still on KRN2. And we've also noted that in terms of the sales have increased more than 300% on that area. So that area, don't understand what you mean about timelines, but we did very well in that area and we did it within the set time. So Riverside is still on KRN2 and we're getting the sales from the Riverside. Thank you.
No, the question, Portia, I think it's around that we did Riverside a while back, and we're now only doing the soft rollover now because of the work that we had to do on the back end system after we've done Riverside and the information and the lessons that we learned.
All right, thank you so much. Yes, the Riverside was our pilot program, and then immediately that we know exactly what is it that we wanted on the pilot program, we had to configure the system, the back-end system, where Mr. Ntuli have just mentioned that we had to go on an open tender, because with this Riverside, we will have to do, we did the scope of work, we know what is it that we want, a proof of concept. When we found out what is exactly the proof of concept, that will make us to be able to configure our back-end system. So that's the reason why we took a little bit longer, because we had to do a proof of concept. We didn't want to start something at the end of the day we don't become very successful. That's the reason why we had a little bit of a delay, but the delay was not as long as you might have seen, because we had to make sure that everything is happening accordingly. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Another question from William from News 24 says that, can Eskom provide an indication of the percentage that sales have gone up by in those areas where the rollover has been completed thus far? Over to you, Mr. Ntuli. We don't have any other questions.
Okay, Ms. Popo, can you deal with that?
Much. We will also post on that one. We've just finished our month-end report and comments. So when we're analyzing the SGCs that we have converted, we have noticed that those SGCs that we've converted, that the sale, there is an increase on sale. So what we will do, we'll just provide what is it that we have done. As I've just mentioned on my highlight when I spoke about the Riverside, where we saw that there was definitely a big increase in terms of the sales that we have seen at the Riverside. This exclude the tariff increase, but just the volumes alone, the volumes were high. Thanks. Maybe in our response, we can also include just the Riverside, the 5,800, what we have seen as our pilot. Thanks, Portia. It looks like that was the last question that we have. And if there's no other question, let me take this opportunity to thank all the members of the media for taking time to really join us and get clarity or more clarity. Oh, there is another question. Sorry. Oh, yes. The question, well, this one just says, may we please get the presentation and recording? Yes, we will. My apologies for not mentioning that when we started. You will get the presentation and the recording. But let me take this opportunity from all, and thank you all the members of the media who have joined, and your contribution and your questions. And I hope that as a takeaway from our media briefing today, you will now have the comfort that you do understand what strategies we will be adopting to ensure that we do meet the November
2024 date, so that we ensure that all our STS meters are being or are complying in as far as the new token identifier is concerned. And we've got the last on chat, William saying thank you for hosting the session. It was much appreciated. I would appreciate it being repeated periodically going forward, and good news regarding Alfred. Thank you, William, and thanks colleagues as well from Eskom that had joined. Thanks to the panelists for responding to all the questions, and to the media as well. If you do have additional questions, you can still post them to our media desk. We will respond to them. But thank you, William, for the comment. We will have, maybe we'll see when can we have another media brief just to update yourselves in terms of where we are, maybe 6 months or so from now, so that we can be able to, or just update you to say we are on track or we are not on track. Thank you, and media briefing closed. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.